Okay, now when it says these questions are hard, they are much harder than the previous ones. So don't worry if you have struggled with little bits of this, but do the same thing. Try and extract the information from the question. So it says a wave travels a distance of 300 meters in a time of 3 seconds. It has a frequency of 25 hertz. What is the wavelength of the wave? Now, if I got frequency, I'm trying to find wavelength, I need the velocity, but we're not given the velocity. Now, you may have used this equation in maths, you may not. Speed is distance divided by time. If you haven't come across that this year, you will quite soon. So I can work out the speed or the velocity by putting in the distance, 300 divided by 3. And you should have been able to kind of see that just from the numbers, but we're looking for how far this goes in a second. That's what speed or velocity is. So if it goes 300 meters in 3 seconds, it will go 100 meters per single second. So our velocity is just another way of saying speed, as far as you're concerned. Once we've got that, so we kind of have to do 2 steps here, we can then use v equals f lambda, and we get 100 equals 25 lambda. Divide both sides by 25, gives us lambda, which is 4, and it's a wavelength, so it's meters. Next one, wave has a frequency of 3 kilohertz. Now we came across this in the normal questions. To get rid of the kilo, we multiply by 1000 because there's 1000 hertz in a kilohertz. So that means that multiplying by 1000 gives us that the frequency is 3000 hertz. If the distance between the first and third peak is 60 meters, so if we draw our wave, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's say this is the first peak, second, and third. We're told essentially that this distance is 60 meters. But if you notice, that is 1 wavelength, 2 wavelengths. So we know that 2 wavelengths is 60 meters. Divide both sides by 2 tells us that the wavelength is 30 meters. Notice we don't divide it by 3 because there's only 2 wavelengths between the first and third peak. Once we've got that, we can work out what the velocity is. Easy enough. So we do v equals f lambda. V equals f 3000 times lambda, which is 30. V equals 90000 meters per second. Last one then. Wave has a frequency of 20 kilohertz. Once again, to get rid of the kilo, we multiply by 1000, which will give us 20,000 hertz, and has a wavelength of 12 centimeters. Don't like that because it's in centimeters. We need to divide by 100 to get that into meters. Gives us 0.12 meters. What is the velocity? So we're trying to find v. That's the only difficult thing about this question, is making those conversions before we use our wave equation. V equals f, which is 20,000, times lambda, which is 0.12. So v will give us 20,000 times 0.12 is 2,400 meters per second.